Welcome all. Welcome to this session of object-oriented programming. Today we'll complete Unit 11, that is sets and maps. Let me show the disclaimer. Okay, so let's start now. So we'll see today what are sets and what are maps. Okay, so let's go ahead. Now, what is a set basically? Set is an efficient data structure for storing and processing non-duplicate elements. Remember this part. Set stores non-duplicate elements, so it does not allow duplicate elements. What is a map? Map is like a dictionary that provides a quick lookup to retrieve a value using a key. Okay, so in dictionary you have some name and in front of it you have some meaning, right? So this name can be termed as a key, and this meaning can be termed as a value. Understand? So key value pairs are stored inside maps. So these two are unique data structures that we are going to see today. Okay. For example, there is a no-fly list. There's a list where we need to write a program that checks whether a person is on the no-fly list or not. Okay. So you can use a list to store the names in the no-fly list. However, more efficient data structure for this is a set. Okay, because there non-duplicate elements are not allowed. So suppose your program also needs to store detailed information about a person in this no-fly list. Then the detailed information such as gender, height, weight, nationality, etc. can be retrieved using name as the key. Understand? So name can act as a key, and other all the details can be saved inside object as a value. A map basically is an efficient data structure for such a task, and using what we can you create sets. So there are three concrete classes: hash set, linked hash set, and tree set. Okay, these three classes implement the set interface and ensure that no duplicate elements can be added to the set. So none of these will allow duplicate elements. This three will not allow duplicate elements, as simple as that. So see, these are the interfaces. This is how the hierarchy is. You have interface collection, under which there comes list and set. Okay, set, there is a class called sorted set, which is also again an interface, and then comes the abstract collection. Okay, which are abstract classes. Under set there comes abstract set, and under set and abstract set there comes hash set and linked hash set. These two are concrete classes. And under sorted set comes tree set. So see, tree set, from the name can be said, will be all will be sorted and no duplicates will be allowed. Tree set will be already sorted and no duplicates will be allowed. Okay. So that is about tree set. Sets. Now let's compare the performance of lists and set. So normally sets and lists are compared many a times. So these are all list classes and these are all set classes, right? So sets are more efficient than lists for storing non-duplicate elements. Okay, And lists are useful for accessing elements through the index. This is the power of list. You can access the elements through index. Okay. And the elements in the list can be accessed through the index and also the name. That is, sorry, the get method. Okay. And sets do not support indexing. So that's the main issue over here. Because the elements in a set are unordered, so that's why indexes are not allowed. To traverse all elements in a set, we use for each loop, right? And so see, this one example is given. An interesting experiment is given to perform the sets to test the performance of sets and lists. What you can do is you can check the execution time of testing whether an element in a hash set or a linked set, hash set or a tree set, array list and linked list. You can check the execution time whether an element is there inside the list or not. To check whether an element is present in the list, that is one of the tests that you can do, okay, to see the performance. Second is you can remove elements from hash set, link set, any of these. So for testing, what it will do is, for checking whether an element is there, it will compare each and every element, right? So that will be a good measure of execution time. And testing whether an element is there or not, that is contained inside a data structure or not. And second is removing the elements. So what happens when you remove the elements? The elements after the removed elements get shifted ahead. Okay, that's what. Both the operations are good operations to test the execution time of all the data structures. Parthiv is asking why there are only 3 stages in all data structures: interface, abstract class, and concrete class. Okay, Parthiv. So see, what happens is that normally when the designers of the class come up with something, they design an interface. Why do they design an interface? Because it defines all the methods that need to be implemented anyhow. Tomorrow you might say that I will create my own set, right? But Java would not allow that. Yes, you might create a set of your different types of elements, but see, these are proven data structures. These are proven data structures. Proven means other languages also do have these kind of data structures, right? So if you come up with your own data structure and say that no, some methods would be there and some methods will not be there, that is not allowed. That kind of thing is not. So first they define an interface which defines nothing but what? Interface defines a contract. We know that interface defines a contract where all the methods are defined and need to be implemented when that particular contract is implemented. So whenever that interface is implemented, the contract needs to be executed by the class by implementing all the interfaces. Okay. Then comes, in some hierarchies there are directly classes, in some hierarchy there are abstract classes in between. Why these abstract classes come? Because people start adding something to it, or maybe the main designers start adding some functionality to it. For example, sets do not have method for sorting. So there came sorted set. There came what? There came the sorted set class, which would provide method definitions for basically what? For basically sorting, and some concrete definitions would have been also there. That's why only abstract class. Otherwise, it could have been directly an interface, right? Why it would made abstract class? Because it might need some concrete methods also. And then comes directly the concrete class. Then comes directly the concrete class which we need to implement. In some hierarchies, what happened? Interfaces are there and directly the concrete classes are there. Or maybe interfaces are there and then there are some concrete classes and then there are some other concrete classes. Something like that would happen. Okay. So this hierarchy is not fixed. What I want to say is this hierarchy from interface to abstract classes and from abstract classes to concrete classes. That hierarchy is not fixed for each and every collection or each and every API. Okay. Remember that thing. So what happens is all these classes, interfaces, all this go through some standardization procedure. So it needs to be made sure by this Java language designers that these classes are standardized. Understand? And what happens is when they define the interface, they would come up with some methods. Then they would want to add some more methods to it as a part of the language itself. Then they would come up with some maybe abstract classes or maybe an interfaces which extend the previous interfaces. Understand? That's what happens. So now if you come up tomorrow with your own HashMap class, it's like designing the Java language element itself. You are saying that I am changing the Java language. But if you come up with a new HashMap class for some specific objects, then that will be an use of this language. That will be an use of the class of this language. But if you come up with your own HashMap class, and that is nothing but changing the Java language. Understand? And that is not allowed, no? None of the language allows it. Understand? But yes, the language does allow it by allowing you to extend the classes. You can make your own HashMap by extending HashMap if it is allowed. Understand? So there are various classes which are defined as final. You cannot extend them, like string class. Okay, like a string class. You cannot extend a string class. You cannot make your own strings. No, that's not allowed. Then there is math class. This is also final class. You cannot extend this math class. Understand? So the language does not allow some classes to be extended. Why? Because the language does not want its original functionality to be changed. Understand? So these are maps: hash map, linked hash map, and tree map. Okay. Now these three maps are, like you can see, similar to sets. Sets are also what? S set, linked S set, and tree set. So each class would have a specific property. Okay, we just have to remember the specific property of each class. Similar to sets, there are hash map, linked hash map, and tree maps. We know that map is a container object that stores a collection of key value pairs. It enables fast retrieval, deletion, and updating of the pair through the key. So key is needed. And map stores the value along with the keys. And the key are like indexes. Key act as indexes. So the maps do not have indices. Okay, remember that. In list, the indexes are integers, whereas in maps, the keys can be any object. It can be a string object. It can be an integer object. It can be any your own user-defined object. And map also cannot contain duplicate values. Remember this thing. But in terms of keys only. Values can be duplicated, but the keys cannot be duplicated. So if you say, I have a key like A and the value is A, and now I have another key A for which the value is B. So obviously the compiler would get confused, JVM would get confused which one to invoke, which value to retrieve when you say key A. Understand? So that's why the keys are not allowed to be duplicated. Values can be duplicated. So now you might say now that I have another key B which returns the value A. So this thing is not allowed, but this thing is allowed. Understand? So each key maps to only one value. Remember that also. Each key maps to only one value. Okay, because it's a pair. Okay. And a key and its corresponding value form an entry stored in a map. Key and its value form an entry stored in a map. So it's like something like this. The search key is there. Okay. And so this is a map where there are, this is one entry which is key value pair, and there are different entries like this, which are nothing but the key value pairs. Okay, and this key can act as a search key, and it would retrieve corresponding element value. For example, these are the keys and these are the values. Understand? So you can use this search key to search a particular entry. And if you see the map hierarchy is something like this. Map interface is there, then comes the sorted map interface, then comes the navigable map interface, and then comes the tree map. So you can say the tree map is sorted and also navigable. Tree map is sorted and navigable. Okay. Maps on the other hand, map has been implemented by abstract map class, and then comes hash map and linked hash map. So you see here the interfaces are there, and directly the concrete class implements these interfaces. So see, this is an hierarchy of interfaces over here. In this case, it's an hierarchy of interfaces, and then comes the concrete class. In this case, there is a hierarchy of interface and what? An abstract class and then a concrete class. See that? It's not fixed that always it will be this case only. It's not fixed that always it will be this case. This is not a predefined rule. Any hard and fast rule is not there. Understand? It might be that after creating map, the designers would want to add something, so they would have created another abstract map, but that would not have been a complete class, and then they would have created hash map. And after creating hash map, they would have created linked hash map to add some more property of linked list. Okay. The figure shows a map in which each entry consists of a social security number as a key and the name as the value. This is a social security number as the key, and this is the name as the value. Okay. And the map interface provides methods for what? For querying, updating, and obtaining a collection of values and set of keys. You can retrieve all the set of keys at once, or a collection of values at once. Okay. You can query out of it, you can update it. Okay. So this is one of the map example. This is how you can implement a map. Program is like that. There is we have to create a program that creates a hash map, a linked hash map, and a tree map for mapping students to ages. So the program first creates a hash map with student's name as its key and age as its value. Understand? And the program then creates a tree map from the hash map and displays the entries in the ascending order of the keys. So tree map has sorted values. So see, according to keys, the pairs will be sorted in tree map. And finally, program creates a linked hash map, adds some entries to the map and displays the entries. The entries in a hash map are in random order. Remember, entries in the hash map are in random order. The entries in the tree map are in increasing order of the keys, that is the ascending order. And the entries in the linked hash map are in the order of their access, from least recently accessed to most recently accessed. So you can say they are according to their priorities. Priorities are not set, but the ones which are accessed first come first, and the most it's like from least recently accessed to most recently accessed. So a sequence is there. So sorry, first the most recently accessed come in the end, and the least recently accessed come in the start. Now, what is something called a singleton and unmodified collections and maps? So see, you can create a singleton sets, lists, and maps, and even unmodifiable sets, lists, and maps using the static methods in collections class actually. Okay. This is collections class. Remember, this is collections class, not the collection interface. The collections class contains the static methods for list and collection, and it also contains the methods for creating immutable singleton sets, lists, and map. Singleton means you cannot inherit them. Understand? You cannot inherit them, and there will be only one object created for that particular class type. That is singleton. So you can create immutable singleton sets, lists, and maps, and also create read-only sets, lists, and maps using what? Using collections class. The collections class defines three constants: empty set, empty list, and empty map. For an empty set, list, and empty map, these collections are immutable. Immutable means like strings, you cannot change it. So if this, we know that in strings, what happens if this is a string, right? And now if you want to change it, it will not change. If you say you want to add A, B, C, D to it, that happens as, what happens is a new string is created. This string actually remains as it is. A new string is created and allocated to the reference variable, but this string remains as it is in the memory. So it is called as immutable. Understand? So now what is singleton and unmodifiable collections and maps? Let's see. See, collections class provides singleton method where you pass an object. This is for creating an immutable set, okay, for containing only a single item. And the singleton list object method for creating an immutable list. So either you use a singleton and object to create only a single item inside the set, or that is either you use this, or you use this where you pass a singleton list which creates an immutable list containing only a single item, okay, a list which is immutable and contains only a single item. You can even use singleton map in order to create an object value key value pair, only a single key value pair. An immutable map containing only a single entry, okay. And see, so this collections class also provides 6 static methods for returning only read-only views for collections, which we cannot modify, and if we try, then this will cause an unsupported operation exception. If you see there is this singleton method where you provide an object, it returns you a set which is an immutable set which cannot be changed, and it contains only a single object that you passed over here. If you want to make a list, use a singleton list. That will return your list object. If you want a map, that will create a singleton map with key value pairs and returns only a map object. Now you would say, why we need singleton? We'd ask why we need singleton, right? So at some places you might want to send, some methods would be there which would accept only set or list or map, and there you would want to set only a single pair, okay, only a single maybe a set with single element. You might want to set a list with a single element, okay. So in that case, this singleton list or singleton set or singleton map is very, very useful, and it is even immutable, you cannot change it. Then comes unmodifiable collection. This is a read-only view of the collection, okay. So you say unmodifiable collection and you pass the collection to this method, it returns that same collection which cannot be edited. cannot be changed. Similarly, use unmodifiable list. So these methods are for what? Unmodifiable collection, unmodifiable list, unmodifiable map, unmodifiable set, unmodifiable sorted map, and unmodifiable sorted step. These methods are for those collections which have already been created, like a list might have been created, a map or a set would have been already created, or a sorted map or a sorted set would have been already created, right? So those which have already been created can be passed to these methods, and it would return those particular types, similar types of object, which would be only read value. So in order to convert an editable list into an read only view, you can use this unmodifiable list method. Understand? If you have a list and now you want to pass it to a method or some other class, right? Then, and that too you want it to be unmodifiable, then you use this method to make it a list which is read only. Understand? So that is about sets and maps. Okay, and there are other things to this, like programs are there. So let's see some programs. Okay, let's see some programs of hash of sets. Let's see hash set. Check this out. This is hash set method. Sorry, hash set class, hash set one class. Here we have a main method. Okay, we use this hash set of type string, create the hash set object, and then we say set dot add 1 2 3 4 5. Let's try to add one again. Let's try to add one again. So what would happen is this one would not get added because there is already a one. So it will not allow duplicate. Then you get an iterator of string on that particular set, and then you say I dot has next, while I dot has next, print that particular next element. Okay. So this thing there is what? This thing simply adds some elements to a set, this program, and runs it out. I don't know why it is not running. Let me just check. Okay, what we can do is, let me do one thing. Let me take all this over here. Let me create new project and it means I'll be able to show it to you by running it over here. A Java application and collection examples. I'll browse it and store it somewhere else. Obviously in your repository. here I will say unit 11, and scientists will have collection examples. Let's say collection set examples. Let's finish. Okay, in this collection set examples main class is there. Let's do one thing. Okay, so here no, we don't need to do that now. Let's remove this. We have got this run top. Let's run it out. You see, check this out. See, sets do not have any ordering. Okay, so that's why you see over here 5, then 1, 4, then 2 and 3. You see that sets do not have any ordering, but it does not allow duplicate elements. So one was added again. One was added again, but that is not added actually to the list. To the set, it has been not added. You see that? See, one we tried to add one again, but it is not added because it does not allow duplicates. Similarly, we have as set 2. Okay, this does what? Here we add a set of string objects. We see here also we are trying to add one more duplicate, right? And now we are iterating over it. Okay, now we are iterating over it. Okay, Harshit has asked, is there a difference between concrete class and utility class? No, Harshit, there is no difference. The only thing is, see, what happens is that utility class, basically, what happens is that, see, if there is a concrete class, right, then obviously this should be for some purpose, right, for some purpose. Concrete class is nothing but it's simply a class that has been that has all the codes and it can be instantiated. As simple as that. You understand concrete class as a class that can be instantiated. Okay. Whereas you have this utility class. This class is provided by mostly the language itself. It is also for some specific purpose. Understand? So utility class provides you some utility methods using which you can create some objects or maybe you can do some operation with those objects. Understand? Got the point? Yes? Okay. If at all any other doubts, please do ask me. Okay.